Hello everybody. In this video, I am going to talk about carbon nanotubes. I am Dr. Teresa Sunitha George, Assistant Professor, St. Paul's College, Kalamassery. As we all know, the carbon nanotubes, they are the allotropes of carbon. Now, different allotropes of carbons are so far known, such as diamond, graphite, lonsdaleite. These are the Buckminster fullerenes. This is C60, C540, C70. And this is amorphous form of carbon, and this is single-walled carbon nanotube, and this is nanobud. And of which carbon nanotubes, they are long, thin cylinders of carbon. Now we can consider carbon nanotube simply in this manner. You consider a thin sheet of graphite, okay, with a hexagonal lattice of carbon. Now this is rolled up so that we will into a form of a cylinder, so that we will get a carbon nanotube. Now these carbon nanotubes were first discovered by Sumio Iijima in the year 1991. Now let us see what are the different types of carbon nanotubes. The structure of carbon nanotube is formed by a layer of carbon atoms that are bound together in a hexagonal mesh. The one atom thick layer of carbon is called graphene. So this is the single layer and this is known as a graphene, and this is wrapped in the shape of a cylinder and they are bonded together so that we will get a carbon nanotube. Now the nanotubes, they can have a single outer wall of carbon or they can have a multiple walls. Okay, multiple walls as such, the cylinders inside the other cylinders of carbon. So here we are having a single walled carbon nanotube, and this is a multi-walled carbon nanotube. As the picture, in the picture we can see that so many walls, one wall inside the other. So coming to single-walled carbon nanotube structure, they can be formed in three different designs. Usually this is armchair design, and this is zigzag design, and this is chiral design. Now all these designs depends upon the way in which the graphene is wrapped into a cylinder. Now this is multi-walled carbon nanotube. And coming to its structure, there are two structure models for the multi-walled carbon nanotubes. One is Russian doll model and the other one is parchment model. Okay, the Russian doll model, a carbon nanotube contains another nanotube inside it, but the case is that the inner nanotube has a smaller diameter than the outer nanotubes. So it is like the body of a doll. Okay. So that's why it's known as Russian model, Russian doll model. The other one is parchment model. A single graphene sheet is rolled up itself multiple times, resembling a rolled up scroll of paper, just like a paper which is rolled one above the another. So we will get a parchment model. This is also a multi-walled carbon nanotube. Now, SWCNT versus MWCNT, that is single-walled carbon nanotube versus multi-walled carbon nanotubes. They have some similar properties. The outer walls of MWCNTs can protect the inner carbon nanotubes from chemical interactions with outside materials. Multi-walled carbon nanotubes also have a high tensile strength than single-walled carbon nanotubes. Now when we compare the single-walled carbon nanotube with the multi-walled carbon nanotube, this consists of single layer while this consists of multiple layer of graphene. The diameter ranges from 1.2 to 2 nanometer in single-walled, while it is about 5 to 100 nanometer in multi-walled. And the density of the multi-walled nanotube is greater. Catalyst is required for the synthesis of single-walled carbon nanotube, but it is not required in the case of multi-walled carbon nanotube. And the tensile strength, it is almost comparable. The purity in the case of single-walled carbon nanotube will be poor, while the multi-walled carbon nanotube, the purity of the multi-walled carbon nanotube obtained during synthesis, it will be high. Then the Young's modulus, it is found to be higher in the case of multi-walled carbon nanotube. And the characterization and evaluation of the both CNTs are easier. And the thermal conductivity of a single walled carbon nanotube is found to be usually greater than or higher than the multi-walled carbon nanotube. Single walled carbon nanotube can be easily tested, while multi-walled can also be tested. Now coming to the synthesis of carbon nanotubes. Three known methods are there. One is the arc discharge method, second one laser ablation, and the third one chemical vapor deposition method. So the arc discharge method, this is the first method which is successfully used to synthesize carbon nanotubes in very small quantities. Now in this method it consists of two graphite rods. One will be acting as an anode and other will be acting as a cathode. And now these two rods are placed in an inert environment of helium or argon gas. Now a strong current is passed between the terminals, which generate a arc-induced plasma, and that will result in the evaporation of the carbon atoms in the graphite. So the nanotubes grow from the surface of these terminals. Now a catalyst is needed for this process. Although multi-walled nanotubes can be formed without a catalyst, it has been found that single-walled nanotubes can only be formed with the use of a metal catalyst such as iron or cobalt. So this is the graphical pictorial representation of the arc discharge method. So it consists of two electrodes. One is anode and other is cathode. So in between we will be obtaining the carbon nanotubes. When a current is filled, when the current is passed and this chamber, it is filled with a helium inert gas, so that we will be getting a carbon nanotubes. Next method is a laser ablation method. This was first developed in the year 1995. The principle is same as that of the arc discharge method. The only difference is that in here we are using a laser beam is focused using a circular lens, and the beam is swept uniform across the graphite target surface. So in order to develop these carbon nanotubes, we are using a instead of the electricity, we are using a laser beam. That's the difference between the arc discharge method and a laser ablation method. So this is the pictorial representation of the setup for the laser ablation method. So here we are using a laser. Then both of these methods have limited potential for scale up. Solid graphite must be evaporated at 3000 degrees centigrade to source the carbon needed. The nanotubes produced are in an entangled form, and extensive purification is required to remove the other impurities such as amorphous carbon, fullerenes that are naturally produced in this process. Next method is most commonly used method is chemical vapor deposition method, that is known as CVD. It is used for the mass production of carbon nanotubes and in this method a substrate material usually made of aluminum or quartz is cleaned in the preparation for the catalyst deposition. So it must be porous so that electrochemical etching can be done, and nanotubes can grow at a higher rate on a porous substrate. Now a catalyst is deposited on the substrate by thermal evaporation. The furnace is raised to a temperature between 500 to 1200 degrees centigrade, and a hydrocarbon gas such as acetylene gas is slowly pumped into the reactor. Now what happens at these high temperature, the carbon dissociates and diffuse into the catalyst. So the atoms rearrange themselves to form a sheet of nanotubes on the substrate, and it will be contain some impurities such as other than carbon nanotubes, it will be containing some impurities such as amorphous carbon, fullerenes, and some amount of catalyst also. Then we have to remove all these impurities using an acid treatment, which is followed by the sonification process. Now the properties of carbon nanotubes. Now the one is strength. They are found to have a very high tensile strength than steel and also the Kevlar. Kevlar, it is actually a amide. Then it is even found to be stronger than the sp3 bond found in the diamond. Now it is having a very good hardness. Then electrical properties. Then the structure of carbon nanotube determines how conductive the nanotube is. When the structure of atoms in the carbon nanotube minimizes the collision between the conduction electrons and the atoms, a carbon nanotube is found to be highly conductive. Now coming to thermal properties, the strength of the atomic bonds in carbon nanotubes allow to withstand very high temperatures. Then wettability. Wettability is an important phenomena for using the carbon nanotubes in various applications. Then some of the potential uses of carbon nanotubes. It is used in nanoelectronics, in the field of nanoelectronics. Then it is used in the field of wastewater treatment. It is used in the field of solar cells. It is used in the field of hydrogen storage. Instead of using the gas fuel tanks, we can use these carbon nanotubes for storing the hydrogen gas. Usually single wall carbon nanotubes are used. It is also used for effective drug delivery. Okay. Then it is also used in some of the in the diagnostic and imaging tool field. Usually, currently now we are using quantum dots or fluorophores for this purpose, but they show photo bleaching effect. Okay, but carbon nanotubes doesn't show any photo bleaching resistance, so it can be used in this diagnosis. Then artificial muscles. Carbon nanotubes have been used to develop artificial muscles. Which are more powerful than the natural muscles. Now the another great application is a space elevator. It is a proposed type of space transportation system, and it would permit vehicles to travel along a cable from the surface of the earth directly into the space. So in order to make this cable, the material should be very stronger and also must be lighter. So the scientists are of the opinion that we could use a carbon nanotube for making a space elevator. So this is all about carbon nanotubes, different types of carbon nanotubes, the potential applications and also the properties of the carbon nanotubes. Hope you have understood the concepts of different idea about the carbon nanotubes. Thank you.